I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to people that have been here before, and welcome to anyone that is new visiting me today. And I would love it if you could like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, so here we are with the astrological energies for February 2022. And they're followed by, after the brief overview, they will be followed by each individual zodiac sign, and you can leap straight ahead if you wish to, but I advise you to listen to the overview as well. And if you go to the description box underneath the video, they're all time-stamped. So here we are in February. How was January? Well, of course, towards the end of January, we moved into Aquarius season, and here we are in the season of Aquarius. And then towards the middle of the month, we move into Pisces. My little fishes. Haven't done those for a while. So, but let's stick with Aquarius because this is the dominant energy at the beginning of the month. Who are Aquarius? Well, they tend to be the rebels of the zodiac. They love their independence and their freedom. And that can be in speech as well as in general. They could be loners, but they do have a sense of the greater and larger community. And they can be quite community-minded. But it can feel quite difficult to really get to know an Aquarian. It's like they have a kind of an aloofness. They also want to do things their way, and that just becomes non-negotiable. But then they're fixed, and they're an air sign. So they give a lot of thought to life in general and how things kind of work. They really do try and get a sense of the bigger picture. And, you know, remember that we're never just our sun sign. We are a combination of many different parts, facets of our particular natal chart. And, you know, if you would like a natal chart reading with me, a one-to-one for astrology and or life coaching, then please do get in touch. And my website is in the description box underneath the video. But we're a combination of various parts of our chart. The sun, where the sun is, if the sun is in Aquarius, this sets the tone. It sets the picture. But equally, whatever our rising sign, our ascendant is, really also gives a huge flavour to who we are going to show to the world. So I think it's always good to remember to just dilute down sometimes the qualities or lack of qualities of a particular sign. So let's move onwards with Aquarius because, as I say, Aquarians can seem quite remote and distant, but they have incredible minds, incredibly inventive minds. And they are like it's almost like Aquarius makes the universe work. And we are, of course, still on that huge, massive, long road of the dawn of the age of Aquarius. So it really is a super interesting time to be on the planet. So how does this dominant energy play out for us this month? Well, I think we might find ourselves literally spending more time alone at home. But it might actually be out of choice rather than because of any restrictions due to whatever parts of the world you're in and whatever your local restrictions are still with the pandemic. So it's a great time when we're at home, whether it's choice or not, but it is a great opportunity. And sometimes we don't see the opportunities that the cosmos is giving us because what it's giving us is this chance for inner reflection, for inner work, to really know ourselves, to really reflect about what we want to initiate this year. You know, sometimes we set resolutions which are just kind of set us impossible goals, goals which are unrealistic. So initiating intention is perhaps a more useful sort of way of using this energy. So with intention, it gives us flexibility. And I think that actually Aquarius gives us that kind of energy to really think and focus on the goals and the intentions we would like to manifest for ourselves in the coming year, and certainly this month. At the beginning of the month, we've still got our planet of communication, Mercury, retrograde. By the 4th, it stations direct. That means it will start easing off on its journey back through Capricorn, and it will start to move forward. And whilst Mercury is in what we call its shadow phase, so until it gets back to the degree in Aquarius where it originally went retrograde, we won't be moving into kind of new territory. So Mercury also kind of invites and enhances this look or ability for that inner journey, for that inner work. It's constructive because it's Capricorn. So we can be very structured and disciplined about how we want to take care of our psyche, our soul. Now, Mercury, of course, is going to be conjunct again with the planet Pluto. Now, Pluto, of course, is this hugely transformative, dramatic energy that we currently have in Capricorn. It's been here for many years. It's still here till 2024 before it moves into Aquarius. So we really have this big Pluto energy again. Now, I think when Mercury is conjunct Pluto on the 12th, on a personal level, we can expect constructive and well thought through ideas that will come to us, perhaps, to help us with what we want to initiate, what we want to intend for this month and the rest of the year. And, you know, if your thinking is directed towards relationship building, well, of course, both Venus and Mars are virtually hand in hand in Capricorn this month. So their energies are going to be super helpful. But also career and business and building a business, really getting the backbone into it can benefit from these quick thinking mercurial energies. And when it's conjunct Pluto, transform your business into something that will really, really take you forward with stability and good foundations into the future. We also need to think about Pluto with regard to what is known as its Pluto return. So that happens and is exact this month. But now, every country has a natal chart, and I have mentioned this before. Now, Pluto, for the chart of the USA, is returning to the exact degree that it was at when the astrology chart, the natal chart for the United States of America, was forged. Now, this was July the 4th in 17. Americans watching will tell me the date, but I can't remember. But anyway, it's around 249, 250 years ago. But it was when they did the Declaration of Independence. And so this is kind of highlighting the kind of energies or the kind of events that may start to unfold within the framework of the United States. We may see huge transformation and change over the next few years. They may change the structure of their government, of their voting system. There could be a huge amount of changes to the structure of the way the country is run and the government is run that will come. Also to the economic system. So it can affect all of these kind of areas. And of course, this will have a reverberating kind of effect on the rest of the world. So we are going to notice these energies for the next 2 to 3 years. And it's going to be really interesting by the time Pluto moves out of orb of its conjunction with itself. It's going to be very interesting to see what has unfolded during that time. So that's something to look out for. But let's just nip back to the beginning of the month, because on the 1st, we've actually got the new moon this month in Aquarius. I will be doing a separate video on this the last week of January, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, but it's in Aquarius, it's conjunct Saturn, and they're making a challenging angle to Uranus. So there's a potential for rebellious behaviour against imposed restrictions. And because Aquarius, of course, hates any restrictions or loss of freedom, then this new moon could see angry outbursts around any such action. But let's now just quickly look at Jupiter, because Jupiter, of course, is now well and truly in Pisces. It's moving quite quickly through Pisces. And if you've got personal planets like your Sun or your Moon, Mars, Venus, any of the personal planets in Pisces, then it's really going to be super nice for you, this energy. It's really going to, it's a bit like sprinkling fairy dust wherever it goes, because Jupiter co-rules with Neptune. And Jupiter is moving up towards a conjunction, which is a kind of once in a lifetime conjunction with the other ruling planet, Neptune. And that's at the beginning of April. But I'll come to that another time. So I think with Jupiter in Pisces, it's really encouraging us to look forwards with optimism, that actually things are going to change this year. There is a brighter sense of a brighter future on the horizon. So please don't lose heart. Don't think this is, Act 3, Scene 4. This is just, in a sense, probably 22 is almost like the final act of Series 1, 2020, Series 2, 2021, and this is the final act. And I do feel we will see a significant change, especially mid-year, to how things move forward from here. But let's come also to the exciting energy of Venus, our planet of relationship, value, self-value, money, and our planet of love. And because Venus is hand in hand with Mars this month, our planet of energy, action, sexuality, they're in Capricorn. I think this is super cool, because as they're going to be journeying forwards towards their meeting with Transformative Pluto, which will be in the beginning of March, we can use their collective energy to build stability, because it's in Capricorn, in our personal and business relationships. And you know what's even cooler? On Valentine's Day, the 14th, these two have been exactly conjunct the day before. So I wonder whether this brings the promise of love and renewed commitment for many. Because Uranus in Taurus is in a favourable aspect for relationships on the 14th. So I think we could see unexpected changes, unexpected commitments for people who perhaps never thought it possible. And I think for the actual day, for actually February the 14th, then I think it's actually going to be out of choice that people will have romantic nights in. And the topic of conversation could be around house moves and living arrangements, and that is most likely the topic of conversation. So before I move on to your zodiac signs, just to mention the full moon this month, which is in Leo, and it's on the 16th. So we've got a lot of interesting energy from the 12th through to the 16th and taking us through to the end of the month. So the middle of February is really a rather interesting time. And this full moon promises to be a time of well thought through decisions based on current evidence and past experiences. Because this full moon is going to help us determine what we need to let go of and what can propel us forward towards our creative future. So, and also because this energy, this full moon comes 2 days after Valentine's Day, I think it really bodes well for relationships of all kinds. So, February is not without its challenges, but the general energies, I feel, are shifting us towards more freedom. So, don't give up hope. It is getting better. Things are definitely going to open up. From the middle of the year onwards, we're going to see a much more different energy. I'm not saying it won't be disruptive, because I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things that will go on, but it's certainly going to be different. So thank you so much for joining me for this part of the video. And I will now move on to your individual signs. Okay, thank you for joining me. Aries. So this forecast is for the sun in Aries or for the ascendant. So the emphasis this month for you is, it's in the last quadrant of what we call the sort of 4 quadrants of a chart. It's in the last quadrant of your chart. So it's a time for kind of wrapping things up. And it may be that there are issues that have been a sort of hangover from 2021 that still need addressing and still need resolving. And I think this sun in Aquarius, and then of course when it moves into Pisces on the 19th, will give you that chance to try and bring closure to certain open-ended issues that haven't been resolved. But the main emphasis for you this month is in Capricorn, and this is the part of your chart that is to do with your career. And it's whatever you do in life, it's whatever you're passionate about. So even if you're not making money out of your passion, then this is the area of your life that is focused. And we've got Mercury retrograde here at the beginning of the month, but Mercury, our planet of communication, does go direct on the 4th. So even though it will be in shadow for a while, it will be in a forward motion in Capricorn in this part of your chart to do with your career or your soul purpose or your goals, your journey in life, where you want to go in life. So it's going to, of course, make another conjunction with our dramatic and life-changing planet, Pluto. And that is going to be on the 12th of February. And between the 12th and the 16th, there's an awful lot of interesting energy around. But let's start with this Mercury conjunct Pluto, because I think this could see you having some enlightened ideas about how you would like to change or restructure your working life. So I think you might get some transformative ideas that come to you, so that where something has eluded you for a while, you start to think, I see how I can change this in a really positive, structured way for me. So that has to be good news. Now, Mercury is then going to move into Aquarius on the 25th, and it makes an interesting angle to Uranus, the planet of the unexpected and innovation in your second house Taurus, which of course is all about your value and your possessions and your money, your finance. So I think Mercury making this rather harsh angle is saying you may have some tough words to say to certain people about your finances and perhaps about what might be lacking in how they are dealing with you. But we do on the 1st, so just leaping back a bit to the beginning of the month, we do have a new moon in Aquarius. And of course, this is in the lovely part of your chart that is connected with the collective and with your goals, your hopes, your wishes. So you really have got some interesting energy in this part of the chart. And I think you'll find that with Uranus making, again, a difficult angle to this new moon, you are really going to want to change the way things move forward for you. I think you're going to be making some very difficult but well thought through decisions with anyone who is not just doing what you want them to do. But let's look at Valentine's Day, because we have the wonderful planet Mars and Venus conjunct the day before. Now, Mars and Venus in Capricorn conjunct on Valentine's Day. How cool is this? Because Mars, of course, is our planet of sexuality, energy, assertion, and of course, Venus is about love and relationships. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's in Capricorn, which is in the part of your chart that is to do with your career. So I wonder whether there is a love interest that might come up for you in some way connected with your work. And that could be something to look out for, Aries. Now, the full moon this month is in Leo, and it's on the 15th, but in the part of your chart, in the lower hemisphere of your chart, which is to do with fun. So I think this is going to see you very much thinking, enough's enough. I've had enough of, a dull, boring kind of time and things just not working out. I'm going to break out and I'm going to make an intention for the rest of this year that I will make the most of every fun opportunity that comes along, and you will absolutely go into it with relish. But let's finish with Jupiter in Pisces, because of course you've now got this wonderful planet of opportunity and luck in the part of your chart that is to do with your psyche, your soul, your inner purpose, your soul purpose. And it's making a really nice aspect, Jupiter, to Uranus in Taurus. And this to me says that there's something about the luck and opportunity and insight that Jupiter will bring you in this part of your chart that will make you actually recognize the value you do have. And I think you are going to be, because you're going to be moving into a part of yourself that says, I am worth it, I am worthy, and I am not going to let people put me down. I'm not going to let people walk all over me. Because I think there's been episodes in your life in the last couple of years where you felt quite powerless. And this is unusual for an Aries, because usually Aries are so good at, in a sense, taking charge. And this energy, I think, of Jupiter here with this nice aspect from Uranus, people are going to be quite surprised at how you change in the coming months. And that's going to begin this month in February. So you might have heard my kitty cats scratching, not the furniture, thankfully, but they're scratching posts while I've been recording this video. But anyway, it just shows you I'm working in a home, and not in a home, but in a home. And I have cats around all over the place, and they join in. In fact, here is Astro as we speak, coming in to just make his presence felt. It's probably because he's cold and he wants a cuddle. So anyway, Aries, thank you so much for joining me and for this little interesting interlude. And I wish you a great month ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Taurus. So this forecast is for the Sun in Taurus or for the Ascendant. How are you, Taurus? Because hosting the innovative planet Uranus in your sign, I think, is just bringing in such enormous change for you in many ways. And I think you will be noticing it mostly with yourself, your attitudes, also perhaps your ability to use technology that may have improved quite a bit, because maybe for your work you've had to use more technology over the last couple of years for some obvious reasons, but also perhaps because that's the way your career path is taking you. And so the emphasis is always going to be for you about this Uranus in Taurus, but this month it is your career and also matters at a distance or learning or studying that come under the spotlight. Now, Mercury, as you know, is retrograde at the start of the month. But by the 4th, it starts to move direct in Capricorn. Now, what does this mean? Well, of course, Capricorn is about structure. It's about institutions and governments, but it's in the part of your chart that's to do with teaching, with learning, with studying. It's also to do with long distance travel. And what I feel with this energy here is that there could be several things or several options that are open to you. One, you might actually be trying to learn some new things. So you may have signed up for a new course. You may be teaching, and you'll find that once that Mercury turns direct, it makes life a lot easier for you. Maybe even that you can get back in the classroom, whether that's in a university or an adult education or a school, or even if it's online, you'll be able to work in a much more productive way. And we have this new moon on the 1st, and it's in Aquarius, and it's a new opportunity in this part of your chart to do with your career, to initiate something that perhaps you put on the back burner. So if there's anything that you've kind of left out of the equation, then that's likely to see, it's likely to resurface, especially because Mercury will be moving into this part of your chart on the 25th. And so it'll be in Aquarius, and it'll be making quite a hard angle to that Uranus in Taurus. But I think this is going to be you actually being quite a hard taskmaster to yourself. So don't be too hard on yourself, Taurus. You know, you are good at putting your mind to the, or nose to the grindstone, and mind to the grindstone. So just keep doing what you're doing, because you're going in the right direction, Taurus. But let's also look at this Mars-Venus conjunction in Capricorn. Now, Mars, of course, is our planet of energy, action. It's also about sexuality. Venus, of course, is relationships and love. And it's in the part of your chart that is to do with matters at a distance. Do you have a love on foreign shores? Is there something that has been sort of marking time that never seems to go anywhere with somebody who's at a distance? Then this Mars-Venus conjunction that actually happens on the 13th, which is the day before Valentine's Day, could see a significant change, maybe some unexpected commitments that really are quite, well, out of character for you. So it certainly will be interesting to see how that plays out for you. The full moon this month is in Leo, and it's in the part of your chart that is connected with your home. I actually feel that, and it's on the 15th, sorry. I actually feel that this full moon is going to be a time for you to do a little bit of spring cleaning. I think it's out with the old and in with the new. I think you're going to be quite creative about how you make your living space more lived in, more livable. As a Sun Taurus, I think I've already started that, because I've sort of designated a special area of I have a very big room, and I have a special area now which I've designated as my office area, so that I move from my office area to my social area, to my relaxing area, or this area, which is my little film studio. So it's always good, I think, to sort of just change the energy. It changes the energy not only in the place that you live or work, but it changes the energy for you. And finally, before I finish your sign, let's look at Pisces and Jupiter, our planet of luck and opportunity, that is in this part of your chart that is to do with your hopes, your wishes, your goals. It's also to do with the community at large, larger groups of people. And Jupiter's here, and it's going to be making this famous conjunction with Neptune in April, and I'll be talking about that later on, next in March and in April. But it's making a nice aspect to Uranus in your sign, and that's from the 18th to the 21st. So I do feel that you could start to see some breakthroughs in you with regard to how your vision, if you like, of how you see yourself proceeding with certain goals and certain dreams that you would like to initiate. So this Jupiter energy in Pisces is really going to be super helpful for you. So it's a lovely month. It's an interesting month. And I think there's certainly some different energies around for you, Taurus. And let's see how that all plays out. So thank you for joining me. And we've also got Astrocus here. He's been snuggled up on my lap because he's cold, because at this time of year it's very cold in this room. But he's a lovely boy, and he keeps me warm too. So anyway, enough of the cat, enough of me and the cat. And I'll say thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Gemini. So this forecast is for the Sun in Gemini, or for the Ascendant. So what's been going on for you, Gemini? How are you faring with your ruling planet Mercury retrograde? By the 4th, it moves direct. So that'll see you might have found your thinking has felt quite blocked, and you can't kind of get your head round things. That's one sort of manifestation, if you like, of a Mercury retrograde. And all the typical things of messages going astray, people misunderstanding you. And for you, Gemini, you find that quite frustrating, because you like to sort of credit yourself on your ability to think quickly and put things across in a very succinct way. So the emphasis this month has been very much, or is very much, in the part of your chart to do with other people's money. It also matters at a distance. It's shared, joint resources. It can be legacies, and it can also be beginnings, endings, anything that needs to be got rid of to allow the new to come in. And of course, with Mercury retrograde, it starts to go direct on the 4th. So at this point, you can breathe a sigh of relief. By the 12th, it is conjunct the transformative planet, the planet of beginnings and endings, the planet that by solar sign rules this house, Pluto. Pluto is our god of death and birth. And this is a very powerful connection when we get Mercury conjunct Pluto. For you in this part of your chart, I wonder if there has been some kind of transaction you've been trying to initiate, get moving, get going. And I think with Mercury direct and conjunct Pluto, you are going to start to see things start to shift quite obviously and perceptibly with whatever it is, whatever deal it is, whatever kind of something you've, sort of contract that you've been trying to get moving, get going, get signed, is much more likely to happen after the 12th, when Mercury is conjunct Pluto. It seems to be that there's something in your life that you need to let go of, and that's to allow the new to come in. So I think you might be looking at how you can realize some capital so that you can actually use that capital in a different way, or shaking your piggy bank and just seeing how much you can share out amongst your friends. So the other interesting thing about this energy is that we've got Mars, our planet of action, energy, assertion. Sometimes it can be aggression and arguments, but it's conjunct Venus in this same part of your chart. Venus, of course, is our planet of love and relationship. And it's also about money and value, self-worth, how you value others. And Mars and Venus are actually conjunct in Capricorn on the 13th. Now, this is the day before Valentine's Day, the 14th. Is this significant? It could be that you and a significant other have something to celebrate at this time. So it'll be interesting to see how that energy plays out for you. The full moon this month is in Leo, and it's in the part of your chart connected with communication and more local matters, and it's on the 15th. And I think it's going to see you making some creative decisions about where you're currently kind of based and how you want to operate within your community. And by the 25th, Mercury, which will now be in Aquarius, is actually making quite a hard angle to Uranus, which of course is in your 12th house. So what does this mean? Well, Uranus in the 12th for you is very much about you are having to go through a lot of inner searching and inner changes. You are having to dig deep to understand the almost unpredictable thoughts that come up for you about who you are, about your self-esteem, about how you value yourself. And I feel that when Mercury is actually making this quite hard aspect to Uranus in Taurus, that you're going to be talking quite heatedly, actually, to people at a distance about yourself and trying to make it clear how you're changing and how you want your life to unfold this month, not only this month, but moving forward into the future. So there's a lot of energy going on for you this month, Gemini. And I also want to mention about Jupiter, our planet of luck and opportunity, that is in the part of your chart, Pisces, which is to do with your career and your work. This is giving you some wonderful opportunities to make some really positive changes to what you want to actually initiate with your career. So, and I think that because you're going through some inner stuff, some inner changes, people are going to see you changing quite dramatically about your ideas for your career path. And between the 18th and the 21st, then you're going to see that energy at its most powerful. So be aware of that, because I think there could be opportunities within the realms of your career and your working life, or whatever it is in your life that you're passionate about. There's going to be some real opportunities to get that moving, and they could be quite unexpected, but very positive, and they lead to a really, really promising harvest in the future. So there we go, Gemini. an interesting month ahead for you. And we've been joined, as first of all, Aries and Taurus were joined by the lovely Minky, keeping me ever so warm and actually making me rather hot at the moment. But he's just so lovely, I can't put him down. So thank you, Gemini, for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Cancer. So this forecast is for the Sun in Cancer of the Ascendant. So Cancer, for you this month, the emphasis is very much in the part of your chart that is to do with our significant relationships, whether that's a close one-to-one relationship, romantic relationship, or whether it's business partners. It's also the house of enemies. So let's see what the flavour of this is going to bring up for you this month, because next door in the 8th house, Aquarius, which is very much about joint resources, shared finance, can be investments and legacies, but that's Aquarius. The Sun is there. So the Sun is shedding light on this area of your life, on your finances. And the full moon in mid-month is in Leo opposite. So that brings in that energy as well. So there's something very significant about the energy of the Sun in Aquarius, the full moon in Leo, and on the 1st of February, there is a new moon in Aquarius. So there's a lot of energy around this topic. So I think it's a time of year for you when you have to really look at your budgeting and plan out how you are going to manage for the next kind of, let alone month, but year. And because there's a lot of energy going on to do with relationships, it seems as if what's happening is maybe you've got some choice words to say to members of your family, people who are dependent on you. You can probably see one of my cats down here. This is DB, Astro, and she's there she is. Yeah, now sit down, DB. So, oh dear, cats. So anyway, where were we, Cancer? Okay, so we've got this new moon on the 1st, and then we've got the full moon on the 15th. So that obviously they're both opposite each other, and the emphasis in your 7th house of relationships. So money comes to the table. And you know what they say about when money flies out the window, love walks out the door. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what's going to happen, but it may be that money issues are causing a little bit of angst, especially because we've had that Mercury retrograde in the part of your chart that is to do with significant relationships, Capricorn. Now, Mercury, thankfully, goes direct on the 4th. So that's good news. And Mercury is going to work its way back to be conjunct Pluto, our planet of transformation, and it's our god of beginnings and endings, life, death, rebirth, and this is all in this part of your chart, the 7th house, significant relationships, and that could be business relationships too. So when Mercury is conjunct Pluto, I think you or others are going to be having some very active and kind of well thought through discussions about money and how it affects the relationships in your life. That's my sense of what this energy is about. So is this good or is this bad? Well, I think if you can address it and deal with it in that gentle Cancerian manner that you have, then all will be well. Just watch out for the Mars-Venus in this part of your chart, Capricorn, because Mars and Venus are in this part of your chart, Cancer, and Mars, of course, is our god of action, war, assertion, arguments, and it's to do with relationships. So there may be little few choice words that things get a bit heated, but no worries, you can kiss and make up, because Venus is there too. And Venus is our goddess of love, beauty, relationship, also money and value. So I think with Venus's presence here, it may be that there's been a little bit of fear or anxiety around finances. And really, Cancer, you need to just take a step back. Slow down. It's okay. It will be okay. You're good at this. You can manage this. You've done it before and you can do it this time. Mars and Venus are going to be conjunct on the 13th in this part of your chart, Capricorn. And of course, on the 14th, we have Valentine's Day. How cool is that? So it's a real chance to heal any open wounds in relationships that may have formed, and to actually go forward for the rest of the month in a much easier and a way that is much more flowing. Now, the sun will be moving into Pisces on the 19th, and this is the part of your chart to do with long distance travel, amongst other things. Now, I think this is really interesting because also we've got Jupiter here. Jupiter is now in Pisces. Between the 18th and the 21st, Uranus in Taurus makes a really nice aspect to Jupiter. Now, Uranus in Taurus can bring up, again, issues of finances. But Uranus is unpredictable. Uranus is sort of, we never quite know what's going to happen when Uranus is about. And I wonder if you just get some unexpected funds coming to you that make a journey possible. Because the 9th house is very much about journeys. And with Jupiter there, that kind of underlines it. Because Jupiter rules the 9th house. It's also in Pisces, and it co-rules Pisces. So Jupiter is very comfortable with you in this part of the chart. So I think this is a good note to end your forecast for February, because Jupiter is spreading a little bit of fairy dust. And even though at the beginning of the month it may seem a little bit, samey and like here we go again and trudging through sort of difficult areas, by mid-month, and certainly after that full moon in Leo on the 15th, things are going to really start shifting and brighten up. So there we go, Cancer. I wish you a really blessed month, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me. Leo. So this forecast is for the Sun in Leo or for the Ascendant. Welcome. So once again, I'm going to talk about your 6th house, Capricorn. And this is the part of your chart that's to do with, amongst other things, your physicality and your physical well-being and your day-to-day routine in looking after your physical well-being. Because this is where a lot of the energy has been for several years, and no different this month, because we've still got Pluto here urging you, pushing you towards transforming yourself, transforming the way you take care of yourself, transforming the way you look after your physical health. I'm a Leo ascendant, and I sort of, took note of what the astrology is telling me. And so I've really been working hard to take care of my physical health. And I know that it's not always easy, and it's very easy to get disheartened when we don't see change. But it's the consistency that actually brings about the change. And I think that's also important. In fact, my physio said something very interesting to me, that exercise is a decision and not a feeling. So it's not, I don't feel like doing it today. It's, I decide to do it today. I'm deciding to do it for myself because it's good for me. So I just put that in as I felt that was a really useful lesson I got from my physio. So back to the astrology for February, because Mercury is going to be conjunct Pluto again this month. It goes direct on the 4th and it's going to be conjunct Pluto on the 12th. So this really is about walking your talk. Now, the other things that we've got going on in this part of the chart is that Venus and Mars are now in Capricorn. And they're kind of moving through Capricorn almost hand in hand, like a romantic couple. And so this brings me to sort of thinking about the routine of relationships. Even though this part of the chart is not per se about relationships, it's just interesting energy, because Mars is very much the masculine influence. It's the assertiveness, the energy, the aggression, even the sexuality. And Venus, of course, is the feminine, and you know, the love. And this could be the love for yourself, the self-worth, the self-value, because Venus is also about value, can be about money. So you can see there are lots of layers of how we could look at this energy in this part of your chart. And both Mars and Venus actually are conjunct, exactly conjunct on the 13th in Capricorn. That's the part of your chart to do with this routine, daily routine. And what's interesting, of course, is that's the day before Valentine's Day. Now, I just think this is super interesting, because I know it's not really the part of your chart that is to do with relationships, but there's something about relationships implied for me by Mars and Venus. And the fact that they're coming together at this time, maybe it says that something that has been a bit kind of unpredictable, because Uranus is around making a few unpredictable angles. Maybe it's actually saying that something that you thought could not become a routine relationship, and I don't mean that in a dull sense, but in a way that you would like, is actually more possible. So that's just one take that I had on this. But we need to actually just leap back to the beginning of the month, because we have a new moon on the 1st, and it's in Aquarius, which is the 7th house for you. So this is about significant relationships. This new moon is quite interesting because it's in the part of your chart to do with relationships. It's like giving you a new opportunity to initiate something with another. If you're single, it could even bring in a new, you meet somebody new, a new opportunity to connect with somebody. But somehow it might clash with whatever's happening on your career path, because Uranus is making a hard square. So that's a challenging angle to this new moon. So you just need to bear that in mind and watch out for that, because I think that you might find yourself being torn in two different directions, Leo. So let's also look, of course, you have a full moon in your sign, Leo. So this is on the 15th, and this is just a couple of days after that conjunction of Venus and Mars. So what are you thinking of changing? What are you thinking of completing about yourself? Do you feel that you have gone as far as you can go with a certain way of being? Maybe you want to change yourself quite considerably. Maybe you want to change your appearance. Leos are very much about hair. And as a Leo ascendant, I can really relate to that. You know, don't touch my hair. So it's an interesting full moon when we have it in our own sign, or in a sign that is important to us, like our moon sign or ascendancy. So just think about what energy that brings in. and how that might actually play out for you. But let's also look at Jupiter, which of course is now in Pisces, in the part of your chart that, even though this is to do with what can be other people's money and joint resources, it can be investments, it can be savings, anything of that nature, even legacies. But Jupiter here also is, it opens up your psychic abilities. And because the 8th house is very much about that sense of connection with other worlds, if you like. But not only that, it's Pisces for you. And Pisces is very much about our kind of ability to connect psychically, or see things, or mediumship, anything that comes under that realm. Jupiter is about no boundaries. So Jupiter is about expanding the mind and the expansion that can come from that. So Leo, really enjoy the presence of Jupiter in your 8th house whilst it's there, because by the end of May, it's moved into Aries, which will be equally as exciting because that's the house of travel for you. So you may be off somewhere later in the year. But enjoy that. And it's making a very nice aspect to Uranus in the part of your chart, Taurus, that's to do with your career. And it's exact from the 18th to the 21st. So this gentle angle that Uranus is making, you could get unexpected news about money. It could be, I would think it would be good news. I don't feel it would be anything bad. Maybe unexpected money comes to you from a source that, because it's unexpected, we can't possibly know what it is. But Jupiter in your 8th house is really rather nice for you, Leo. So you can sit back and actually this month, I think from mid-month onwards, from that full moon in your 1st house in Leo, I think you're going to start seeing some very positive changes. So have a really blessed month, and I look forward to seeing you next time, Leo. Thank you. Virgo. So this is for the Sun in Virgo or for the Ascendant. This month, there is plenty of opportunity for you, Virgo, to actually sit back, relax, and have a bit of fun, because most of the important dominant energy is in the part of your chart, Capricorn, that is to do with fun, parties, bit of romance, and anything that is of a creative nature. The Sun is still in the part of your chart to do with your day-to-day routine. So even though you might have been dragging your heels a bit, getting back into a workable kind of routine for yourself through January, and that Mercury retrograde might have slowed you down a bit. But because the Sun is in Aquarius and it's shedding its light on this sort of area of your life to do with your working routine, it's going to actually make it much easier to find a way to sort of actually make your routine a little bit more interesting, because we've got a new moon here on the 1st, and that's Aquarius. And you know, the planet Uranus, which is the planet of the unexpected and shaking things up in general, is making quite a tough angle to this new moon. So it's almost as if the energy is kind of propelling you or encouraging you to actually do a bit of spring cleaning to your working area, even to make it a little bit more, you know, when we do that kind of just shift and change a bit with our work areas, it really does shift the energy. You know, we can see clearly where things are and have things much more in order. That for you, Virgo, you really do like to have things in their place and in order. And you see, we've had this Mercury retrograde since the middle of January. And Mercury is in that part of your chart, Capricorn, to do with fun, partying, creativity. Now, it goes direct on the 4th. So that's good news, because if things have been a little bit delayed with anything you're working on of a creative nature, things will start to shift after the 4th. By the 12th, by the 12th, Pluto in Capricorn is going to be conjunct Mercury again. So you could be receiving some very interesting news around this time that could help you transform any project you've been working on. Anything that's been taking up quite a large proportion of your time is likely to have an input of some really transformative energy with this Mercury conjunction with Pluto, because Pluto is our planet of really enormous transformation, breaking down the old way of doing things and finding a new way to move forward. Now, the other interesting thing is that we have both Mars and Venus also in Capricorn in the part of your chart to do with this creativity and any projects you're working on. Now, they're kind of moving along kind of almost hand in hand at this time. And by the 13th, they are actually conjunct. Mars, just to remind you, is our god of war. He is our planet of action, energy, assertion. He can be arguments and disagreements, but this is the part of your chart that is to do with fun. So I don't see that as a necessary factor with Mars at this point. Venus, of course, is our planet of relationships, of love, of romance. And with Mars and Venus, this masculine energy and this feminine energy coming firmly together on the 13th, which of course is the day before Valentine's Day, the 14th. You know, this part of the chart is also to do with romance and love affairs. So that could be super interesting for you, Virgo. You may meet somebody out of the blue, and who knows where that could lead. So also this month, we have a full moon in Leo, and this is in that part of your chart where you keep things quite private and to yourself. It's where sometimes you can feel a bit trapped or isolated. And this full moon is really going to sort of, with Leo, I think it's going to show you what you need to let go of with regards to you and how you come across to the world in general. So I feel you need to do some inner reflection and some quite deep work on yourself to see where you could perhaps tweak your own character. And it's even a good time to, with this full moon, to look at actually seeking the help of a therapist or counsellor. That could be a good time to actually start, even though it's a full moon, because I think it's about bringing in that kind of definite change into your life where enough is enough. You know, you struggled on your own for too long. Let's really address the issues in your life and see how you can actually move forward and grow with these. And before we leave your forecast, let's also look at your 7th house. Now, this is the part of the chart to do with significant relationships. Now, the sun will be moving into this part of your chart on the 19th. So that'll be shedding light on your close relationships. And of course, Jupiter, our planet of luck, opportunity and abundance, is now well and truly in this part of your chart. How cool is that? That's going to be really super lucky for you. It's going to bring lots of opportunities to meet new people if that's what you're looking for. And, you know, remember, you've got all that other interesting energy in your 5th house, Capricorn, with Mars and Venus there. And, their meeting and everything. So it could be that somebody you meet actually becomes somebody more permanent for the long term. And so Jupiter in Pisces is going to be very helpful for you. And I do feel that there's a possibility that you could unexpectedly hear from somebody overseas. And between the 18th and the 21st, it could be quite a surprise that this person that you hear from actually would like to hook up with you again or get in contact with you again. So there we go, Virgo. Quite an interesting month ahead, and certainly some great opportunities if it's love that you're looking for. And this is the month of love. So thanks for joining me, Virgo, and I will see you next time. Libra. So this forecast is for the Sun in Libra or for the Ascendant. Let's see where the cosmic energy is focused for you this month. Well, there's a lot going on at home. This is Capricorn for you, and it's the part of your chart that is to do with the home, with residence, with family. So you might find that you've had Pluto here, the planet of transformation, for many years, and it's still going to be in this part of your chart for another couple of years. So probably what's happened over the last few years is that you've moved house. You might have moved house several times, and certainly there will have been interesting transformational changes in your home life. Now, we've got a lot of energy in this part of your chart this month because, first of all, Mercury, which is our planet of communication. Mercury's been retrograde since the 14th of January. By the 4th, it goes direct in Capricorn in this part of your chart connected with the home. And then any delays that you've experienced about perhaps trying to get people in to do some work in your property or in your place of residence will actually, those blockages will start to shift and things will move forward. By the Mercury is actually conjunct Pluto on the 12th. And so that's going to bring some interesting decisions, I think, about you may be thinking of buying and selling. That could be something that's going on, or certainly making some perhaps quite transformative changes with your residence. The other interesting energy we've got in this part of your chart is Mars and Venus. Now, Mars is our planet of action and energy. It's also it can be about aggression, but that's not, I don't think, what it's about in this instance. Venus is our planet of love and relationship, but it can also be about beauty. So I think you have been working and are working very hard to make your home more pleasing to live in. You've probably been making lots of changes and just kind of really enjoying beautifying it. Libra is ruled by Venus, and you love to have beauty around you. You're very minimalist. You like to keep things nice, clean, cool lines. That's quite important for, I think, Librans' state of mind. Now we've got, as I said, we've got Mars and Venus here, and that is going to they're actually conjunct on the 13th. So this could see a culmination of anything that you've been working on with regard to making changes around the home. And it's interesting because it's also masculine and feminine. Mars is masculine, Venus is feminine. And Valentine's Day is on the 14th. So as they meet up on the 13th, I think by the 14th, you will be having a very nice, cozy evening at home with your loved one and discussing plans for the future. What I haven't mentioned yet is the new moon we have this month, which is on the 1st. And it's that part of your chart to do with projects and creativity. Is there something new that you want to do? Is there something new you'd like to get involved with? Or if you're single, this can also represent a new potential for new romance. So quite a loving month, Libra. And also this month we have the full moon on the 15th in Leo. Now, this is that part of your chart connected with your hopes and wishes and also larger groups of people. And I think there may be something that you've been working on that you can now say, yes, I've done it. I've completed this work of art, whatever it is for you. It could even be something that you feel you've achieved and you've become good at. It's not necessarily creative, but it's something that you feel you've really worked hard at, and you can kind of pat yourself on the back and say, well done, Libra, I've done well there. But let's also look at Jupiter, because Jupiter's in Pisces in the part of your chart that is to do with your day-to-day routine. It's also your health, and it's matters to do with health that perhaps might need attention. Now, Jupiter might have been shedding light on anything to do with your health that is niggling and not getting resolved. Now, Uranus in Taurus is making a kind angle to Jupiter between the 18th and the 21st. So you may get some unexpected news about what's going on with maybe health matters. You might get an appointment that has been difficult to get a health issue resolved. That's one way that this energy can play out. The other is that it's about your routine and your working life and your colleagues, and that actually you're looking at ways to use the joint finances that you have to make your working routine more manageable and something that is a little bit more expansive and can kind of accommodate the growth that you feel can be coming. So quite an interesting month ahead, Libra. There's a lot of interesting energies to do with the home and also potential for some really nice interaction with one's nearest and dearest and loved ones. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Scorpio. So this forecast is for the Sun in Scorpio or for the Ascendant. This month, the main focus of energy for you is in the 3rd house. Now, this is Capricorn for you, and it's the part of the chart that is connected mostly with communication of all kinds. You've got Pluto here. You've had Pluto for many years, so you're used to things kind of changing quite dramatically with who you speak to, how you speak, social media, all the things that come under that kind of heading. And this month, Mercury has been retrograde in this part of your chart. Now, by the 4th, Mercury goes direct. So if there's been any delays in information you're waiting for, in communication of all kinds, contracts that need to be signed, things will start to shift after the 4th. Now, by the 12th, Mercury will actually come to meet Pluto. So there could be some really quite interesting and transformative news that either comes to you or you are giving. It's interesting. Let's just look at the new moon to start with, because the new moon in Aquarius is on the 1st. And that's in the part of your chart that is to do with your home life and your family. Now, that new moon has a difficult angle from Uranus our planet of the unexpected, which is at the moment in Taurus, in the part of your chart that's to do with your significant relationships. So this is quite interesting because you've got Mercury going direct on the 4th. You've got this new moon on the 1st. So the new moon on the 1st is about wanting to sort of initiate some changes within the home front and perhaps with family members. But there's somebody in your kind of general domain that is not happy about this, because this is a very significant relationship, and Uranus is, this person is just putting a spanner in the works. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for you, Scorpio. But let's just come back to the 3rd house and Capricorn, because we've also got Mars and Venus here. Now, Mars is our planet of aggression. It can be assertion, it's energy, can be sexuality. And Venus, of course, is our planet of attraction, love, relationship. Now, these two guys, now Mars is a masculine energy, Venus is a feminine energy, and they're kind of walking hand in hand until they finally meet and become exact on the 13th in Capricorn, in this part of your chart to do with communication. So if there's been something that has been dragging its heels and that somehow you can't get resolution for, then I would suspect around the 13th, 14th, Valentine's Day. So that could be interesting. You could be really having some very interesting discussions with someone who is very important to you. So that's the kind of energy that you've got around. Now, the full moon is on the 15th, and this is in the part of your chart, Leo, which is to do with your career. Are you thinking of changing jobs? Because that could be something to do with this energy, or at least making big changes or changing perhaps direction or departments. But there's something quite fiery about this decision. Maybe you get angry and you walk out. That could be one expression of this energy. And, you know, Scorpio, you can brood a bit and take things quite to heart. So that's the full moon for you. But we also need to look at Jupiter in Pisces, because this is the part of your chart that is to do with creativity, having fun, romantic relationships, and anything of that nature. Now, it's Pisces. Jupiter is now fully established in Pisces. And this is nice energy because from the 18th to the 21st, Jupiter in this part of your chart, Jupiter's our planet of expansion and luck and opportunity. So whilst it's in this part of your chart, it's really giving you an opportunity for possibly new romance or expanding a situation with somebody, maybe moving it up to the next level, maybe taking it towards commitment. And as I say, between the 18th and the 21st, Jupiter makes a really nice angle to Uranus in Taurus in that part of your chart to do with significant relationships. So there could be some surprising decisions or changes around romance or around somebody who is very important to you. That's certainly, I think, going to be around this month. So, you know, it's a loving month, Scorpio. You know, we have Valentine's Day, and I do feel if there's been difficulties or struggles with loved ones over the last kind of month or so, that's going to start to settle down. So I wish you a really blessed month. I've actually got Astropus here. He's cold, we're cold, so he's snuggling up and helping me to do these videos. So thank you so much, Scorpio, for joining me, and I wish you well, and I'll see you next time. Sagittarius. So this forecast is for the sun in Sagittarius or for the ascendant. Okay, how are you, Sagittarius? How's your financial situation? Because that's the part of the chart this month that has most of the action, and hopefully in a positive way. So let me explain. First of all, this is the part of your chart, Capricorn, which has been hosting the planet Pluto for many years and for another couple of years. And Pluto is the planet of transformation. So you've probably seen quite a lot of ups and downs and changes with regard to your financial status. Now this month, Mercury is also in Capricorn, and Mercury, our planet of communication, has been retrograde since January the 14th. On the 4th, the good news is Mercury turns direct. Now this means that if there's been any delays with regard to finance, or waiting perhaps for finance to get sorted, come to you, bills paid, then after the 4th, you might start to see some action in that department. The other exciting thing this month is that we've got both Venus and Mars in Capricorn too. Now, Venus actually can represent finance and money, as well as love and relationship and attraction and beauty. And Mars is about assertion, energy, it can be aggression. And I think because you've got both the presence of Mars and Venus here, I think you're going to really experience a kind of an abundance of finance kind of in your life. So I think if things have been sort of dragging their heels, if you've been waiting for money to come to you, then it's actually going to start kind of shifting. And the good news is that both Venus and Mars are conjunct on the 13th. So I really think this is going to be quite a significant time of the month. And because, you know, Mars is about the masculine and Venus is a feminine energy, and they're both coming together. So this is like balance, excuse me, balance to do with finance. And of course, February the 14th is Valentine's Day. So it might mean that you have a little bit of extra cash to actually enjoy spending on your loved one or loved ones to actually, you know, celebrate that particular day. So let's also look at the new moon in Aquarius, because that happens on the 1st, and it's in the part of your chart that is to do with communication. So I think it's giving you an opportunity to really kind of say things in a more succinct way, in a kind of more way that will be more understandable. Now you might find that your topic of conversation is actually about work and working routine, because Uranus in that part of your chart is actually making quite a harsh angle to this new moon. So it could be that you have that you just want to see some restructuring going on in your working environment. So we have also a full moon in Leo on the 16th. Now, this is in the part of your chart which is to do with travel. So I suspect, and because it's Leo and I'm thinking of fire and heat and sun, I wonder whether you're going to take a sneaky little break and actually sort of find yourself, you know, popping on a plane and popping off to somewhere to get some winter sun. Because the full moon for me in this part of your chart is, you know, I've had enough. I need a change. I need to just move. I need to change my location. And Sagittarius, you do like to travel. You do like to move. You don't like to be kind of held back or restricted for too long. It's really important for you to, to get moving. Let's also look at the 19th, because the sun will move into Pisces then. So this will shed the light on your home life. and because this is the part of your chart to do with the home. So this also will be a great time to do some changes at home, do a little bit of spring cleaning, do a little bit of sort of innovative changes and move furniture around and get that energy shifted a bit. And also what's super nice is that you've got Jupiter in this part of your chart, and Jupiter is going to be here till the end of May. Jupiter bringing sort of expansion and opportunity. I mean, if you wanted to move house, then this is a good energy to have here. You might find what you're looking for. And the other use of this energy in this part of the chart is that it will be good for you to make your home environment just more interesting and, you know, as I say, shift everything round, change the energy. And Jupiter is actually between the 18th and the 21st is making a really nice aspect to Uranus in Taurus, which is in that part of your chart to do with your working routine. So it may be that you decide, Sagittarius, to designate a certain part of your living space to just to work, because a lot of people now, in spite of the pandemic, are sort of opting to work from home or spend more time working from home. So you may decide to designate a certain area just for that reason. So you leave your office space in whichever room it's in, and you go into your living and social space. So all in all, Sagittarius, an interesting month. Your finances are certainly going to get some fairy dust sprinkled on them this month. I can really see the coffers filling up, and that can't be bad. So thank you so much for joining me, Sagittarius, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Capricorn. So this forecast is for the Sun in Capricorn or for the Ascendant. And as you can see, your reading is blessed with the presence of Astropus. Basically, he's sitting here because he's cold. You'll notice he's never here in the summer when I do these videos in the summer. He's just here now because it's cold. So anyway, let's move on, because I think he must be a Capricorn, because this month, the emphasis is very much in your sign. So it's all about you. First of all, you know that the last few years have been very much about you. You've had Pluto in this part of your chart transforming you beyond all kinds of recognition, so that you can hardly know yourself. And certainly people around you, your friends, will have found it quite difficult to sort of keep up with the changes that they've experienced about you. And you know, it's interesting for a Capricorn, because Capricorns are quite sort of reserved, and they're stoic, and they sort of tend to sort of, you know, keep things very conservative. And yet this Pluto energy here has really changed you. It's been, in that sense, a game changer. Now this month also you've got Mercury here. Mercury is our planet of communication. Now it's been retrograde since January the 14th. By the 4th, it goes direct. So if there's been conversations that you feel you would like to have had, and for whatever reasons the people haven't been available, or somehow your thinking wasn't clear to put across what you want to say, then I think from the 4th onwards, you'll have a much clearer sense of thinking and sense in your mind as to what you actually want to say. The other interesting energy you've got here is both Mars and Venus. Now, Mars is giving you much more energy. Mars is making you feel very assertive, and you've got clear ideas about what you want and how you want the rest of this year to unfold for you. Venus is walking hand in hand with Mars. Now, Mars is masculine energy and Venus is feminine energy. So what it's doing is it's giving you this nice balance of the masculine and the feminine. The feminine aspects of Venus here are making you very attractive to everybody. People are going to want to spend time with you whilst Venus is here. And when Mars and Venus actually come together conjunct on the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, if you don't have a date for the 14th, then I would be very surprised, because I think there's something about you. You will be glowing, you will be shining, Capricorn. So how cool is that? So let's see what else is happening, because what I haven't talked about yet is the new moon, because that actually happens on the 1st of February, and it's in your second house of finance. Now that's good, because a new moon is a new opportunity to set the tone for how you want your budgeting to go this year. So it may be that even though you might not have sort of addressed that part of your life during January, this month you will really get down to work and you'll think, right, I've really got to look at how I sort out my finances, because you don't want any unexpected kind of surprises. And with Uranus in your 5th house, Taurus, and Taurus is a money house, but the 5th house is about partying, fun, creativity. Uranus can make you behave a little erratically, and you know, it may be you want to sort of splash out on something, sort of on a work of art, but I think because it's a hard square, I think it would be better to hold back, because you might need that money for something else that is more important further on down the road. So let's see what else is happening, because on the 16th, we have a full moon in Leo. Now, this is in the part of your chart to do with other people's money and your kind of joint finances or investments. So anything of that nature, or pensions. And this full moon, I think, sees you making a decision about maybe investments, or maybe how you want your money to work for you. And Leo is such a creative sign. And so I think we're going to see you being very creative with how you decide to save money and how you want to make your money really work for you. So that's quite interesting energy, Capricorn. But let's also look at Jupiter in Pisces, because the sun is going to move into Pisces on the 19th. And this is the part of your chart to do with communication of all kinds. So it's going to be shedding light on communication. I think February we're going to see you getting out and about more in your kind of general locality, seeing people, meeting up with friends. And so hopefully this means that the pandemic's going to have taken its foot off the accelerator and will be just actually applying the brakes a bit. Now, Jupiter is in this part of your chart. Jupiter loves being in Pisces. Jupiter co-rules Pisces. So Jupiter spreading its fairy dust and its luck and its opportunity is really giving you a sense of abundance connection with people that you haven't seen for a long time. So there's I think a lot of toing and froing, and I think a lot of meeting up with people this month. And it's also got a very nice angle from Uranus in Taurus. So there could be some unexpected people that pop into your life, and even somebody of a romantic nature. That's certainly. So there's an almost this month, excuse me, a flavour of everything. You know, your finances are looking good. You are shining. You are firing on all cylinders. And there could be some romance in there too. So, Capricorn, I really wish you a blessed month, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining me. Aquarius. So this forecast is for the sun in Aquarius or for the ascendant. Aquarius, how are you doing? Because I think it's been not that easy for you, because you've got some heavy, or you've had some very heavy energy in Capricorn for you, and that's in the part of your chart that kind of can make you feel very restricted, confined. It can also, it's also the part of your chart that pushes you and encourages you to go within, to look at your deep inner self. And I think it has been quite a tough time. You've had Pluto here for many years, and you've got Pluto here for another couple of years. And then, my goodness, are you going to experience some big changes? Because, and this is going to be in how people see you, how people experience you, because Pluto will then move into your sign. But let's stay with this month. First of all, let's just quickly look at the new moon, because the new moon on the 1st is in your sign. So this is a really nice energy for you to start February with. This gives you a chance to turn over a new leaf, reinvent yourself a bit, get a haircut, do anything that just makes you feel a little bit more positive and a little bit better about yourself. That will really help you. And there is a bit of a difficult angle from Uranus that's in Taurus, which is the part of your chart to do with your home and family. So this might be a chance to smooth over troubled waters. If there's been any sort of difficulties over the end of the year, last year, the Christmas season, the New Year season, it can always see people's sort of energies and relationships getting quite tense and difficult at times. So it's an opportunity to sort of pour some oil on troubled waters. But moving back to Capricorn in this part of your chart to do with the inner you, we've had Mercury retrograde here for a while. So I think it's been quite hard for you to really think clearly about what you want to do or where you want to go or how you would like your life to proceed forward. So Mercury actually goes direct on the 4th. So this is super helpful. And I know I've said this before, and I think I have said it to your sign, but this really would be good energy to think about getting a counselor or a therapist, because Aquarius, because you're quite what I'd call an advanced sign of the zodiac, I think sometimes you think you can do it all on your own. And the fact is that none of us can. I think we all need someone to be a mirror for us at times. So, if you have that opportunity to actually go and talk about you, talk about who you are, how you would like to see yourself going forward in the future, then it would be a really good time to do that. Because also you've got Mars and Venus in this part of your chart. Now this is really good energy here because Mars is about assertion, energy. So you'd actually have the energy to do this kind of inner journey. Venus is about love and attraction. It's about relationship. It's about beauty. And maybe you've not felt very good about yourself. This would give you a chance to actually find that inner nugget of gold. And sometimes we need someone else to help us find that inner nugget of gold. So these two, Mars and Venus, actually are conjunct on the 13th, which is the day before Valentine's Day. So maybe this would be really nice energy for you to look at making a really nice evening with the person that you're dearest to, that you're nearest to. So actually kind of, and sometimes Aquarius, it's about listening, because sometimes none of us are good at hearing what someone else is saying. And I think that's a message for all of us. And this Mercury retrograde that we've all had for the last, since the middle of January, is really a chance for inner reflection and thinking, how much do I listen to someone else? Or am I always waiting with my response to get in? So let's also look at the full moon this month, because it's in Leo. And of course, this is your 7th house of significant relationships. So this, I think, is giving you an excellent opportunity to close the chapter on something that may not have been working well in a current relationship, so that you can allow the new to come in. I think it's really important sometimes. There's very much this feeling this month of cleaning out the cobwebs of, you know, it is really sort of, it's spring cleaning, but a bit early. But it is that sense that you need to sort of find new ways to approach everything. You know, Aquarius, you are about new things. You're inventive, you're innovative. You have a marvelous ability to see the bigger picture. So use that. But let's also look at the energy that's in your second house, Pisces, because the sun moves here on the 19th. So the sun will move out of your sign where you've had the sun's help, shedding light on you and helping you be reflective on you and how you would like the world to see you. And here it is, Jupiter has now left your sign and is in your second house of finance. So this is going to be super good for your finances. You could get a sudden windfall. Maybe this is a good time to think about buying a lottery ticket, especially between the 18th and the 21st, because Uranus in Taurus would be making a really good aspect. So you could be really surprised that you actually win some money or something, so that it makes it possible for you to do something with your family members. So it's quite interesting that you've got that energy there. But Jupiter in general, make the most of Jupiter in this part of your chart, because Jupiter's going to be sprinkling his fairy dust here till the end of May, and you will get Jupiter back at the end of October into this part of your chart. But make the most of it while it's here, because it's really good for abundance. So Aquarius, so time for some inner reflection. Don't be hard on yourself, but if you are kind of struggling a bit, ask for help. It's so easy. All right, Aquarius, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Pisces. So this forecast is for the sun in Pisces or for the ascendant. Okay, this month, Pisces, I think it's all about work. work, and more work. But actually, you are going to be enjoying it, because I say this because it's actually about things that you really love doing. It's about launching projects, because the energy for you this month is in the part of your chart that is to do with projects, larger groups of people, the community at large. And it feels as if there's a lot of things that you want to get off the ground. Now, the month starts actually with a new moon in Aquarius in the part of your chart that's to do more with the inner you. So I think this is giving you a new chance for some inner reflection, which is actually really helpful for you. And it feels like it's actually been quite hard to be very clear about your thinking and to put your thoughts across. And I'll come to that in a minute, because that's actually part of the Mercury retrograde that we've had. But it does feel that it's been hard for you to get people to understand you, to sort of hear what you're saying. And I think this new moon is helping you actually find a different and perhaps a more innovative and unusual way of communicating. So maybe you're just going to think outside the box and think, well, actually, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just putting things in the wrong way and I need to change me, because often we're always sort of thinking about changing others, and we forget actually we could adapt to others as well. So, but let's go back to the 11th house Capricorn, because this is where the major energy is happening for you this month, because Mercury has been retrograde here since January the 14th. Now, Mercury finally goes direct on the 4th of February. So if there's been delays around projects you're trying to lift or launch off the ground. And this could be something to do with, it could be you joining a larger group. Maybe it hasn't happened yet, or maybe it could be because of the pandemic that it's just had the restrictions that have meant we can't kind of collectively get forward, or move forward. And I think that once Mercury goes direct, we're actually going to see a lot more things opening up, and it's going to be much easier in general. So, but also in this part of your chart, and Mercury is going to come up and conjunct Pluto, because Pluto is our planet of transformation. And Pluto has been in this 11th house part of your chart for many years, bringing lots of interesting ideas to the forefront of your mind so that you can think about how you can transform your life and the way that you work with groups of people in a very interesting way. And Mercury will be conjunct Pluto on the 12th. And that's interesting because I think you could get some interesting news about something you've been waiting for that will transform the work you're doing. So it's going to be quite big news, this. And the other interesting energy you've got going on in this part of your chart is Mars and Venus, because Mars, of course, is our planet of energy, action, assertion. So you're really going to be firing on all cylinders. Anything that's to do with larger groups of people. Maybe you do amateur dramatics or theatre, or you're involved in some way in shows or show business, then this is super good energy to kind of get those things all working together and working well. And you've got Venus here as well. And Venus, of course, is our planet of beauty, love, attraction and relationship. So Mars and Venus coming together on the 13th, the day before the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, and Mars is masculine, Venus is feminine, I think bodes very well for something. Maybe you're trying to think of a way to have a kind of collective sort of Valentine's get-together, a Valentine's party, subject to local restrictions, I add. As I know that's not easy. It might just be a small group of, say, 4 to 6 people, but to actually perhaps celebrate in a way that wasn't so possible over the Christmas and New Year period. So they, as I say, they come together on the 13th and Valentine's is the 14th. So it is really nice energy. Now, the other thing that we've got going on is we have a full moon in Leo on the 16th. Now, this is in the part of your chart that is to do with your day-to-day working routine. It can also be health. Now, if there's been a health issue that you've been waiting for it to change, or for results, or for some appointment to become available, then this full moon will bring closure to that. You'll get a resolution. You'll see the end of something within that regard. It can also mean that you're thinking of making some changes to your daily working routine, to the colleagues that you work with, and that you're going to end a certain way of doing things to bring in some new ideas and different ways for you to kind of manage as you move forward. And of course, lastly, we need to finish with the wonderful planet Jupiter, your ruler, one of your rulers, that is in your sign. Now, Jupiter in Pisces is lovely, and Jupiter is sprinkling its fairy dust all over Pisceans at the moment. You are going to be feeling wonderful. You're going to be feeling very powerful, maybe quite sort of expansive in how you come across to people, which is quite unusual for a Piscean, because Pisceans are usually more behind the scenes. They're kind of quieter. But this Jupiter in Pisces is really going to energize you. And it's bringing you opportunities, it's bringing you abundance, and it's bringing you a lot of luck. And that energy is going to be around until the end of May. So really sit back and enjoy the ride with Jupiter in your first house. The only thing that I have to warn against is that Jupiter is about expansion. The first house is about the self. So just watch out that we don't get any expansion of the belly. Well, if you want to be pregnant, then that might happen, but not if you're just overeating. So just watch your overeating, because Jupiter, in all seriousness, can mean that we increase in weight, but maybe you're going to increase in stature. And between the 18th and the 21st, just to finish off with our Jupiter, Jupiter is actually going to be in a very nice angle to Uranus in Taurus in the 3rd house, which is the house of communication. So I do feel that you will have, where you've earlier in the month found it quite difficult and realised that you've had to kind of up your game a bit with how you communicate, I think from the 18th onwards, and actually most of the month, because Jupiter is already going to be in orb of this angle with Uranus, you are going to see that you can come up with some creative and unexpected, innovative ways of communicating your ideas so they can really crystallize and become concrete. So there we go, Pisces. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a blessed month, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And thank you everyone for joining me for this video. Just if anyone is still here, having watched the whole video, but you probably really will have gone to all the timestamps. And just to say thank you for joining me on this channel. Please like and subscribe. And if you want a one-to-one with me, please contact me via my website. Thank you, and bye for now.